What's up everyone, my name's Alpha and today we're back with another Pokemon challenge video. Today we're on Pokemon Omega Ruby and today's challenge will be, can I beat Pokemon Omega Ruby using only shiny trade evolution Pokemon only. So essentially I mean some backstory onto this challenge. I've always wanted to use trade evolution Pokemon in a video and I think I've done it in the past. But I actually really just want to use trade evolution Pokemon, and I think the simplest way to use it is going to be a trade only Nuzlocke. Essentially, I can only catch Pokemon in the routes that we're going to that evolve via trade. So they could be the first stage of the line, but eventually they had to trade to evolve at some point or another. I don't think there's a trade evolution that's like a middle stage, is there? Can't think of one that's like a middle stage and then evolves like another way. That would be weird. That'd be like the worst Pokemon to have in a single player. That's gonna be our rule to do it. Of course, it's a Nuzlocke, so we can only catch one Pokemon per route. They only have one life, so if they ever faint, they are done. We have to discard them. As well, there's gonna be a level cap, which is gonna be the highest level in each gym leader's team. And as well, we're gonna make it a little more difficult. We want to use our Pokemon to the maximum, so I think it's fair that once we beat the 7th gym, we could fully evolve every Pokemon. Once you evolve them, then it's going to be another stage, most likely, and then you could trade and evolve, but you could skip the whole process and just evolve them to their fully form. So I think it's more fair that you use all the forms, especially the middle form, mostly through the games. I'm just going to limit to once I beat the 7th gym, then I could fully evolve everyone, which I'm going to do on my own side with my editor, but yeah, that's going to be how that works. As well, another rule in this video is that you can't use items inside of battle. You can use hell items, but you can't use bag items. And of course, you have to play on set mode just to make it more difficult. And that'll be all the hard rules. The fun rule included in this challenge video, each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments. So thanks so much for leaving me a nickname in my previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after your future Pokemon, just drop it in the comments and hopefully I'll pick yours. And while it's down there, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, let's get into the challenge video itself. So to begin off with, I decided to give myself, technically this was the last Pokemon, but I think technically this isn't the last Pokemon you can get, so I researched that a little bit. And also I started off with a Horsey and it's not even shiny, so I messed up twice there. So well, I gotta fix those in editing. So boom, Horsey's now actually shiny, and we could train up our Pokemon a little bit from the start of the game just so I don't lose against our rival battle fight, which we're gonna do right now. Lucky enough, we're able to beat her easily. We also modify it, so we gave ourselves the right nature. You know, since I just cheat in the Horsey to begin with, I'm gonna give it the best nature. So Horsey's a modest nature, and from there we can move out into the first gym in the game. We'll face off against Roxanne. She's gonna be a really easy gym leader, especially since we're a modest nature. We're able to go for a water gun and just two-shot the Geodude. Does a little damage with the Rock Tomb. It could have been really bad if it kept using Rock Tomb, but it works out as we're able to two-shot the Geodude and then two-shot the Nose Pass. We ate the Rock Tomb pretty easily, so we're able to knock out Roxanne, finish through the first gym, and then move on into the second gym. Now the second gym, we're gonna make sure we don't get over level first, which the level cap should be 16, not 14, but we'll fix that in a little bit. From there, we're gonna move on into Granite Cave, where we're gonna shiny hunt for our next Pokemon that can evolve via trade, which is gonna be a Geodude. Geodude obviously evolves into Graveler and evolves into Golem via trade, so we're gonna spend our time just shiny hunting in here, and eventually we're gonna find ourselves a shiny golden Geodude, which I think this was my first ever shiny Pokemon, which kind of disappointing because I didn't have a link trade to evolve it, so it's always gonna be a Graveler. I have so many times in my life have I gotten a shiny Graveler or Geodude. It was just like disappointing at some points. But from there, we're going to move on and face off against Brawly next. Brawly is going to be the fighting gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Horsey because we don't want to jeopardize our Geodude. We're going to two-shot into the Machop pretty easily, and then his next Pokemon will be a Makuhita. And then we're able to two-shot him as well. So easily beat down Brawly and get the second gym badge in the game. Then next up, we're going to face off against May in this very difficult fight, which I was just hoping the Slugma uses Harden, and it just used Harden at the end of the fight, and it didn't matter as I still two-shot it, so I was like, oh, I gotta be very careful. Looking at the Whelmer decides not to use a water move against us and use Rollout, so we're able to knock him out with a Rollout. And his final Pokemon will be a Grovyle, which we're gonna outspeed and then knock him out with a Rollout, and lucky enough we didn't miss. So we beat down May, which was very lucky for us. Now we can move on and face off against Watson next. Watson is the third gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Geodude against his Magnemite. Now things work out pretty well for us as we're able to get a Magnitude off against him. He's going to go down to low HP, and then I immediately go for a Rock Polish so I get my speed up. we're able to waste all his potions and two-shot him with magnitude. His next Pokemon will be a Magneton, which doesn't have sturdy, so we're able to one-shot. Okay, magnitude does not do any damage, but we survived the Magnum Bomb pretty easily, and then two-shot him with magnitude, as we're able to knock out his Magneton, and his final Pokemon will be a Voltorb, which we're able to easily one-shot, and we're able to beat down Watson. Things are looking pretty good for us as we're able to head out into Route 218. I don't know, I forgot what route, 209, something like that. But in this route over here, we're able to shiny hunt for our next shiny Pokemon, which there's only one option in here. So we're able to find ourselves a shiny Machop, which is going to be pretty decent. We're going to add it to our team and then quickly evolve him with my Geodude into a Machoke and a Graveler. As we're going to head into the next gym in the game, we're going to face off against Flannery next. Flannery is the fire type gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Graveler. Now Graveler actually looking pretty good with Rock Polish. We're going to Rock Polish in front of the Slugma, and then from there we're going to go for a bunch of rollouts. I don't know why I enjoy using rollouts so much, but we're able to one-shot the Slugma. Her next Pokemon will be a Numel, which we two-shot. Earth Power does a lot of damage. We got to be very careful. Build up the rollouts in front of her, as her next Pokemon will be a Torkoal, which we're able to one-shot easily with a rollout. And we're able to beat down Flannery, and we got to be very careful of that because Numel almost beats us down. From there, we're going to face off against Norman next. Norman is the 5th gym leader in the game, and we're going to start the battle off against him using my Machoke. Now, I decided, you know what, I just can use Bulk Up in front of him. I don't care that I get slept or nothing, so I get +6 on Bulk Ups, and from there, I'm able to knock him out with a low sweep, and then I fell asleep as well, but from there, he uses his Vigor off, which goes for Retaliate. I take it pretty easily, and eventually I will wake up and knock him out with a low sweep, and then his next Pokemon will be his Slacking, which I was like, you know what, I could take any hits. I was wrong. Chip Away almost knocks me out, so that was very scary. But we're able to luckily knock him out with a low sweep and one-shot him. But you know what, that Chip Away could have done a lot of damage to us. Now from there, we have access to Surf. We're going to head into this route, get the Citrus Berry, which is going to be very important. And from there, we get the Good Rod. You might be wondering what Pokemon we can get, but we'll get that in a little bit as we face off against Tabitha and get the Mystic Water from the Weather Fortress. And then from there, we're going to go under this bridge specifically. Now, under this bridge, if you fish under this bridge using any rod, you have a 100% guarantee of getting a Feebas during the day. So, I never knew this. I searched it up on Cerebi. This is actually 100% true, which is crazy to think. What? How do you get Feebas 100% of the time? This is the rarest Pokemon possible, and there is a spot for it. So, eventually, the easiest shiny hunting in the world, we get ourselves a shiny Feebas for free, and then we're gonna add it to our team. You know, I was gonna be very upset if I didn't catch it because I was running out of Pokeballs, so I was like, uh-oh. Luckily enough, it got poisoned, and the status helped us catch it easier as we were able to catch the Feebas and then face off against Winona next. Winona is gonna be the flying type gym leader in the game. We're gonna start the battle off against her using my Graveler. Graveler is a pretty good pick here. We're able to Rock Polish twice in front of the Swallow, and from there it goes for a double team, but we're gonna go for immediate Rock Blast to knock out the Swallow pretty easily. And then her next Pokemon will be a Pelipper, which I go for a Rock Blast, hoping I don't have to take a Brine, and I don't, as 3 shots would knock out the Pelipper. Her next Pokemon will be an Altaria, which I hit her with a Rock Blast. Almost 3 shots her, but we stopped at 2. She's gonna go for a Roost as I go for a Rollout, and I keep building up Rollout power, and 3 would knock out the Altaria, and 1 would knock out the Skarmory after 4. So we're able to beat down Winona and get the 6th gym badge in the game, which is very nice for us. As from there, we're gonna move out into the Safari Zone next. Now the Safari Zone surprisingly has a Pokemon for us. Now in the Safari Zone, you can find yourselves a Rhyhorn, which we're able to shiny hunt and eventually find in the wild. This Safari Zone is very underwhelming, but we're able to find ourselves a Rhyhorn, which will eventually evolve into a Rhyperior. We're going to add it to our team real quick, and then we're also going to head into Mount Pyre for our 6th Pokemon, which we're going to shiny hunt in here real quick. We're going to find ourselves a shiny Duskull. Duskull evolves into Dusclops and eventually into Dusknoir via trade and a Reaper Cloth. So it's kind of annoying. There is one more Pokemon we have access to, but since we have a full team, we'll use that as a backup, which is giving me a Clan Pearl. Could get that, but we don't need it right now. But from there, we can go into the Team Magma hideout, clear through the Team Magma members, and also Courtney. And from there, we're going to face off against the 7th gym leader. After this fight, if we're able to beat them, we can evolve all our Pokemon. So we got to be very careful because we want to keep as many Pokemon as possible. We're going to start the battle off against Tate and Liza using my Seadra and Dusclops. Seadra goes for a Surf, just one-shots the Solrock with Mystic Water. And then from there, I could go for a Shadow Punch with my Dusclops to knock out the Lunatone. And we're able to beat down Tate and Liza pretty easily. We also get Dragon Pulse, which works out pretty well because now our team are fully evolved. Sorry, I can't show any of the fully evolved animation. We have a fully evolved shiny evolution team, which is very nice. From there, we're going to face off against Maxi. Maxi isn't a difficult fight at all. We start the battle off against him using my Machamp to one-shot his Mightyena. His next Pokemon will be a Weezing, which I go out into my Kingdra. Kingdra is able to one-shot it and then knock out the Crobat as well. And then his final Pokemon will be a Mega Camera, which for some reason I thought about switching out, but I'm like, this is a camera. I could go for like Bobo Beam or knock out the Mega Camera. So we're able to one-shot the Mega Camera as we're able to beat down Maxi. Now from there, we have access in facing off against this huge mini boss called Groudon. So Primal Groudon, some people in the comments were asking me why don't I just catch it, so I don't want to risk anyone losing or anyone dying. This is more content. We can't catch it because it's not a shiny Pokemon, nor is it a trade evolution. So I think it makes more sense that we try to fight it, and we're able to face off against him using my Machamp. Machamp, luckily enough, he goes for a rest. I try to go for Bodos to gauge the damage. With Soft Sand, that did nothing, so we're forced to stay in. So we went for an Earthquake, two-shot him, looks like. He went for his own Earthquake, he two-shots me for sure. But luckily enough, another Earthquake would knock out the Primal Groudon as we're able to beat down the Primal Groudon and then don't lose a single Pokemon. So it actually works out pretty well for us. Now next up, the hardest battle in the game, we face off against Wallace next. Wallace is going to be the 8th gym leader in the game, and we're going to start the battle off against him with my Machamp. Now I was trying to go for a cheeky little full sweep down. We're gonna use Machamp. We're gonna go for a power up punch to knock out the Love Disc, but he goes for a Attract and then Sweet Kiss, and then my Machamp is unable to do anything. I don't think it lands a single hit. Nope. It lands a power up punch, but I go down to low HP, so I'm forced out into my Dusknoir, which goes into Attract and also Confusion. Eventually it lands a Shadow Punch to knock out the Love Disc, but then that's too late as he goes out to his Milotic. I don't do a lot of damage. I go out into my Kingdra. Dragon Pulse does a little bit of damage. I eventually go out to my own Milotic to Dragon Tail to get rid of this Milotic. So that's my play right now, just to avoid the Milotic because this thing is too scary. I also get Burn on it, which is very nice. His next Pokemon will be a Seaking, which I'm able to go for a Scald as he goes for a Rain Dance and Waterfall. It works out for me as I'm able to get a burn on it and then recover all the HP. And eventually we're able to knock out the Seaking, which is nice. His next Pokemon will be a Whiscash, which I'm able to 3-shot. And he ran out of Hyper Potion, so it works out for us. His next Pokemon will be a Celio, which I go for a burn. Eventually I get Body Slam and Paralyze. I'm able to still knock him out. His next Pokemon and his final Pokemon will be a Milotic, which I go for a few more Scalds. Eventually I'm gonna go out into my Kingdra, and luckily enough he stops going for Recover every other turn, so we're able to go for a Dragon Pulse and eventually knock out the Milotic, and we're able to secure the 8th gym badge in the game, and probably what is the hardest and worst Wallace fight I've ever done in my life. So yeah, never again. Hopefully Love This doesn't do that again to me. But from there we can go out and face off against Wally. Wally is a very easy fight. As you can see, my Kingdra is just sweeping through. Eventually I am forced to switch out into my Dusknoir to knock out the Gallade, but it isn't too hard. We're able to beat down Wally and then move out and face off against the Elite Four. Now the first Elite Four member we're going to face off against is going to be Sydney. Sydney is the Dark type Elite Four member, and he's going to start the battle off against us using a Mightyena. I go out to my Machamp first. Machamp, even though this Intimidate up, I'm going to go for a low sweep and one-shot the Mightyena. Okay, I tried to one-shot. It didn't one-shot. He's going to go for a full restore, but I go for a Bulk Up. Now I'm at neutral, and I'm able to one-shot the Mightyena. His next Pokemon will be a Shiftry, which I stayed in. Take the Fake Out. Didn't know he has extra sensory, which he does. Almost knocks me out. I'm able to low sweep and knock him out. His next Pokemon will be an Absol, which I know for sure he has Psycho Cut, so I went out to my Rhyperior. I take the Psycho Cut and I'm able to one-shot the Absol. His next Pokemon will be a Cacturn, which I decided to just switch out into my Dusknoir. I went for Will-O-Wisp for no reason. That was definitely a play. I go out into my Machamp next because I could take any hits. Low sweep to knock him out. And his final Pokemon will be a Sharpedo, which I was pretty sure I could take any hits from him. As he goes for a Slash and I take it. Low sweep to knock him out. And Rough Skin does a lot of damage. But I'm able to survive. No deaths so far. As we're going to face off against Phoebe next. Phoebe is going to be the Ghost type Elite Four member. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Kingdra. Kingdra is able to go for a Scald and almost knocks out the Dusclops, but it goes for Curse and knocks itself out anyways, so it works out pretty well for me, even though I take a bit of damage. But her next Pokemon will be a Sableye. I decided to go out into my Rhyperior, which will one-shot the Sableye pretty easily. Her next Pokemon will be her own Dusknoir, which I go for an Earthquake into a Stone Edge to knock him out, which is very nice. And then her next Pokemon will be a Bayonet, which tries to go for Grudge. Luckily enough, I missed the Stone Edge, and then from there I could Rock Blast to knock out the Bayonet. And her final Pokemon will be another Bayonet, which goes for Will-O-Wisp. I still do a lot of damage through the burn, but I still want to be safe. I want to switch out into my Machamp to knock off and one-shot the Bayonet. And from there, we beat down Phoebe without losing anyone. From there though, we're gonna face off against Glacier, and this fight, very annoying. We're stuck to battle off against Glacier using my Dusknoir. Now we're gonna go for Pyre punches against the Glalie. The whole point of this is to set up my Dusknoir. Obviously I can outspeed with Shadow Sneak to knock out the Frostlass, and Pyre punch at +6 would knock out the Walrein. So this should be a free battle. So eventually I knock out the Glalie. I'm at kind of low HP, which is fine. Her next Pokemon will be a Frostlass, which I go for Shadow Sneak. It misses because of Snow Veil, and it was the last turn of Hail, so I lose my Dusknoir because of that. So Dusknoir goes down because I missed Shadow Sneak through the Hail, and I was just stunned. I was like, this is the worst. Anyways, I go out into my Milotic. From there I can go for Scald, 2-shot him at least, and then from there she can switch out to a Walrein. I don't want to deal with this, so I Dragon Tail it out. Frostlass comes out, I'm able to Scald twice into him, which is very nice. Frostlass goes down. Her next Pokemon will be this Walrein again, which I switch out into my Machamp. Machamp is unable to get a move off because it gets paralyzed, and also it gets hit with a Blizzard, so another Blizzard would knock him out roughly, I think, so I don't want to risk that. I decided to switch out into my Milotic and then Dragon Tail once again. I switch out to my Milotic to recover, Scald, and then Dragon Tail into the Glalie, which takes a Freeze Dry, which is not good at all. It at least burned the Glalie, so I switch out into my Rhyperior next. I unfortunately take a Freeze Dry, but I take it pretty well with my Rhyperior, as I'm able to go for a Rock Blast to knock out the Glalie. From there, she can switch out into a Walrein, which I forgot it was a Water type. I know it's going to go for a Blizzard, so I didn't want to stay in. Good choice though, as it goes for a Surf, so that would have one-shot for sure my Rhyperior, as I go for a Dragon Pulse and 2-shot the Walrein. And at least I already wasted all her healing items, so we're able to 2-shot it, and we're able to beat down Glacier pretty easily. We're not going to play any risky at all. We're going to start the battle off against Drake using my Kingdra and my Kingdra only. We're going to start the battle off using my Kingdra to Ice Beam the Altara to one-shot it. His next Pokemon will be a Salamence. I one-shot that thing with Ice Beam. His next Pokemon will be his own Kingdra, which I Dragon Pulse and one-shot as well. And his next two Pokemon will be two Flygons that get easily destroyed by Ice Beam. So we're able to beat down Drake without any issues in like 5 turns. So very easy fight. From there, we're going to face off against the champion in the game. We're going to face off against Steven Stone. We're going to start the battle off against Steven using my Rhyperior. Now, the point of this, I don't want to get toxic on anyone at all. So Rhyperior, I felt like the weakest. I decided to go for Stone Edge, and it didn't do a lot of damage. I'm not gonna lie, so gotta be very careful here. I go for a Rock Blast against him, and then I take a Steel Wing, but lucky enough Rock Blast would knock out the Skarmory in the following turn. As we're able to beat down the Skarmory, and his next Pokemon will be a Cradily. I was pretty confident Hammer Arm was able to kill, because I'm pretty sure I outspeed and I do a lot of damage. Hammer Arm does not kill, and Giga Drain from the Cradily will, so that was a bad play. I didn't really have a good play in mind. Maybe I switch out to my Machamp, as I do right now, and then I go for a Bulk Up, but he's gonna go for a Giga Drain, which, I mean, works out, as I'm able to low sweep, knock out the Cradily. His next Pokemon will be a Clado, which I'm able to knock off and one-shot it with a crit. I don't know if that matters or not, but it works out for us. I learned Dynamic Punch, which is very important because I have no guard, so it actually is a decent move. I go for Dynamic Punch, it gets confused, and it doesn't hit itself, so it's gonna knock me down to low HP, but I'm gonna go for a knockoff and a Dynamic Punch to knock out the Aggron. And then his next Pokemon will be his Armaldo, which I decided to go for a Dynamic Punch. It gets confused, and he goes for Crush Claws, so he doesn't get confused at all. But I'm able to knock him out with another knockout Dynamic Punch combo. And his final Pokemon will be his Metagross, which will Mega Evolve into Mega Metagross and knock me out, obviously. I don't want anyone else to take any damage from it, so I go out to my Milotic, Scald it, burn it on the first turn as he goes for Bullet Punch out of everything, so the battle should be over at this point. I dodge his Zen Headbutt too, so we're able to knock out, well, he takes a Giga Impact, so that, you know, he's pretty powerful, but we're able to knock out Steven Stone pretty easily. Unfortunately, we get 3 deaths at the end. We played pretty good. I mean, it's a pretty easy game. We played pretty well throughout the entire game, but unfortunately, at the end, we fumbled a little bit and we let off the gas. We lost a lot of Pokemon. I mean, honestly, the Dusknoir fight wasn't even my fault, because because it was a chain reaction. Once Dusknoir went down, I didn't have a safe pivot into a lot of Pokemon because Dusknoir is so tanky and it's a weird typing. Ghost is a weird typing to match up against. It's neutral to a lot of things, so unfortunately I didn't have the luxury to switch in between Dusknoir anymore, so game became really hard for me to really defend with my Pokemon being just rock and water basically. So that was, I mean, it's still pretty fun. I would say thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, my name's been Alpha. Hope you guys all had a great day, and I'm out. Peace.